This is the video report presentation on Charlotte Drive in Frisco. At the front of the report you'll see the TREC statements. They're above us on the page we're on at the moment. What we're looking at here is the list of callouts, and you'll see each one is listed and a page number where it is noted. And I encourage you to go right the way through the report. Don't just use this list. Look at everything that I've mentioned. Now, around the house there are general indication of foundation movement. It's present and visible. There's movement in the windows, out square slightly, on the left elevation particularly. And then there's also separation of the soffits and trim on both side elevations. However, there's no sheetrock cracks or brick cracks or floor slopes. So based on this, in my opinion, that the foundation is actually performing its function. But if you have any doubts, you really should instruct a structural engineer to look at it, because I, as a home inspector, I'm not allowed to give you an opinion about the future viability of a foundation, but a engineer can. So that might be something you like to consider. So every time I find something, I note it. There's a photograph here, freeze board, separation. Basically, you shouldn't get separation like this. So, and its small amount of foundation will show up in that foundation movement. Will show up in that freeze board movement. And soffit, another one there. Windows on the left-hand side are out of way out of square. And one of the things about that is, if we look at the photographs of the building, let's find it. Here we go. I'll bring that into view. As I zoom in on it, you can see that it's been caulked. It's been caulked very badly, and we're going to talk about that a bit later. There's water penetration. We'll talk about where water penetration comes from. So this whole area here is very bad on the left-hand side. The caulking's not good around the whole of the house, actually. So that's a cause for concern, but it is easily fixed. And as I say, foundations do move, especially in North Texas. There's a little bit of soil erosion around the air conditioning compressors on the right elevation. Now, in the yard itself, there's a swale. Never fill that swale. It's especially on this house, it's not particularly big swale. It's not deep, but it's good enough, and certainly up to standard of the code when this house was built. Soil levels around the grade perimeter showing a little bit of a bit less than they should be. It's very common. And then we got downpipes. You can see the downpipe here. It's emptying right next to the foundation. So you want to put extensions on that. Just take it away. And there's a large tree in the front yard. Great for shade, but they do consume enormous amounts of water. The roof itself is a composition shingle. On the rear elevation there's anchor bolts on a new dish that's been installed, and they are not caulked. On the front elevation there's evidence of water penetration at the bottom of the two gables. Now, the roof at the front slope of the house, okay, is showing aging. It's just a combination of things. The shingles are lifting, there's bubbles in them. Not uncommon. Roofs do actually change over the years that they age. One of the contributing factors to this aging may be the poor ventilation. It's got one ventilator, and in my opinion it could do with at least another two. So I've marked the roof as aged. I can't tell you about its insurability. The only way you can find that out is ask the insurance company you intend to use whether or not it's insurable. In most cases they are. It's not a problem. But you should do that before you sign your contract. The attic, inspected the attic. This is the single ventilator that's there. It's just viable. Really, adding another two would help a great deal. There's some cracking in the bricks. This is the only one I could really find. It's a soldier brick. It's right at the top of the building, in the front elevation. Around the house, though, there's evidence for water penetration points. This is at the air conditioning unit, and you can see there the holes in the unit there in the wall. Water's going to go in there, lots. And then the front windows of the house, there's water penetrating. I can't tell you where it's coming from. All I can tell you is it's there, and I measured it. We got a reading of 48.3. It's at risk of damage, and so the alarm's going off on the meter. I checked the woodwork around the house. This is where I found it bad. On the rear elevation it was fine. It's just the front elevation that I found this issue. Then I went inside and I found water penetration on the walls inside the actual house itself. Now this is, in my opinion, caused by poor caulking on the outside. Probably on the upper floor it's running down, water's getting in, running down and getting into the walls around the windows on the ground floor. As you can see, I went around and tried to identify exactly where we've got water penetration. At one point the alarm went off, it was 76. It actually indicates it wet. Here we got a reading in the games room. We're actually on the second floor. Again, I think this is a caulking issue. And the sill, we're on the second floor, and you can see we're looking down to the fence below. It's on the right hand elevation, and you can see we've got water present in the sill of the window. In the bathrooms, the caulking is just getting a bit aged. It's disappearing. Recaulk every wet area, you know, once a year really. You don't want water getting into your drywall, and that's what can happen if the caulking goes. On the front elevation, you've got a hose bib, and you can see that hole there. Water's going to get in, so caulk that. Now we looked at the floors. Because I found water in the walls, I had a look at the floors, and lo and behold, yeah, there's a little bit of dampness in the floors. Not enough to cause any damage, but I can't emphasise more how important it is to keep the caulking in good condition, because it will in time damage the floor. Right at the front door there's water penetration. You can see the meter there is registering it. Now up in the second floor, the closets and the doors have ball latches. These are ball bearings. They're latched and then they're supported by a spring. They're all broken. You want to have those replaced. This is the door to the garage, and it should have a self-closing hinge on it. Without that, it could stay open. Now the reason we want a self-closing hinge is because a garage is a fire break area. Obviously we put a vehicle in there and they can catch fire. In fact, it's the most common cause of fires in our homes. So putting one of those self-closing hinges on there is a good safety precaution. Here we are at the windows. As I say, the windows and the caulking is pretty bad. You saw it a little bit earlier when we zoomed in on it. This is windows on the left hand elevation, but it's anywhere a window or a door has a steel lintel. That's a metal piece of metal goes across the top of the window and supports the walls above it. It should have weep holes in it. These allow it to breathe. Weep holes are pretty important, and so you might like to have those reinstalled or have them installed. Now around the house, on the front elevation especially, there's signs of fogging of the windows. This is where the seal starts to go and the window starts to allow air in and moisture, and you can see there's little shadows of it. I tried to see if we got condensation and I couldn't, but on other conditions you may just get condensation in the window. This is the chimney. We're looking right at the top of the chimney, and again we've got a water penetration issue here. Water's getting in, the caulking is failing, and that will cause rot inside the chimney chase itself. Now the electrical systems, they all worked well. There was nothing really wrong with them at all. just some more small points. And just go back here. I lost it when I changed to check a box. It was installed correctly. What I found was that we've got voltage drops, and you can see here I've called it out. The outlet in the laundry has a voltage drop of over 11%, and others around the house have 8% or more. What this is that the voltage at the main board, the breaker panel, is 124, and it is required that we have a voltage drop of no more than 5%. If we have more than 5%, you can get all sorts of issues, like, for example, equipment not working properly, or, in the worst case, a fire. So you should consider having that electrical system retuned. It's a matter of tightening up, and an electrician has to do this, tightening up the screws in the outlets and the board. On the front elevation we have uplighters, and they're actually buried. This is dangerous. This is an electrical termination box. It carries 120 volts. If water gets into that box, which it can do, then it could cause the whole area around there to become energized, and you get an electric shock. Exposed terminals or exposed outlets, the outlets on the outside walls should have covers over them, and they don't. These are in-use covers. You may have seen them. They're Perspex, clear Perspex cover, and you can plug in your extension lead, but also cover them at the same time. Now, lights on the walls, anything that's electrical on a wall on the exterior must have caulking around it. We want to stop water getting into contact with the conductors. If it gets in contact with the conductors, then the whole area beneath the actual wall can become energized, or below the light can become energized. Let's go back to where that was. Something jumped. There we go. So that area, that bracket, needs to be caulked. Likewise with the isolators on the right elevation, and the electrical meter. I couldn't get this fan that we're looking at now to work. I think it works. I've told you it's not working because I can't say anything other than it didn't work. It probably has a controller and it wasn't available to me, a remote. So you should ask about that. Up in the attic we've got exposed wiring. You must never have covers missing from electrical fittings in an attic. The flues that go out through the roof, they should be bonded. What that means is they're attached to the grounding system, and what it does is it reduces the probability of a lightning strike. It's very cheap to do it. An electrician can do it in a heartbeat for you. And it really is a worthwhile thing to do, because you will reduce the probability of getting a lightning strike. Electrical fittings that are in attics, that one had one missing, this one has one there, but it's the wrong type. It's plastic, it's got to be metal. Plastic can break, and then the conductors are exposed. You don't want that. The heating ran perfectly during the day. I had that running. The only thing is that on the gas supply line there should be a sediment trap. There's an illustration of what it is. The cooling ran perfectly. We got a drop of 20 degrees basically on both the first and second floor. So very good performance. The water pressure in the system was 80 pounds per square inch. We want it between 40 and 80, so that was good. That was working well. The drains. The only thing I'm noting is that the drains, the actual drains, the clear outs, are close to a large tree. Large trees are known to invade sewer lines. You might like to have the sewer line inspected by a plumber prior to escrow, as clearing out roots from a sewer line can be an expensive option. The water heater, I I'm going to tell you the water heater is at the end of its safe working life. The thing is that the water in North Texas is very acidic, and it attacks the tank. Inside any water heater tank is a thing called a sacrificial cathode, and they last about 6 years. And once they've been eaten by the acid in the water, then the acid starts to attack the tank. And there were all sorts of observable pieces of points where it was showing there was possible rust inside the tank. Now, don't get me wrong here, it wasn't leaking, but it's actually in the attic. And if it does leak, there is a chance that it could flood the house, and that could cause thousands of dollars of problems, of damage. So here we've got a picture of the corrosion. This is the vent hood on the water heater itself. It's incorrectly installed. It's loose. It can move. It's actually moved out of square. Still functioning okay at the moment, but that needs to be fixed, because if you get combustion gases in the attic, they can contain carbon monoxide. Well, of course, that's deadly. The temperature pressure relief valve didn't work. I wouldn't operate it. If you open it, it will probably stay open, and then you've got water running out. Again, the water heater's missing a sediment trap, just like the gas heater. Dishwasher ran through a cycle great. Food disposal worked. The range exhaust worked. The range cooktop and ovens all worked. We set the temperature at 350. We got 345. Very good. Microwave worked. Mechanical exhausts in bathrooms, they ventilate into the attic. Really, you know, if you have a new roof put on, you might have that happen because you have a hailstorm come through. Then get them to put the vent pipes to the attic roof. They've got terminations. Take it outside, and it stops damp air getting into the attic. Garage door worked perfectly. Doorbell operated, and the dryer wasn't was attached, so I couldn't inspect it, but there's no obvious issues with it. And then finally, the house does not have a lawn sprinkler system. So that's a quick review of everything in the report. The report's available. Please take time to go through it, and you can call me or you can email me. Email works better if you want to ask questions, because during the day I can answer emails as I'm working, but I never take a phone call when I'm inspecting, and I'm inspecting 2 houses today. That's what I do most days, so it makes it difficult for me to pick up the phone. As I say, I don't inspect when I do not answer phones when I'm inspecting somebody's new home. Anyway, thank you for choosing Yellow Hat. If you've got any questions, give us a call or email us. Bye bye for now.